welcome to the Anartist Collective. This is a virtual art tour at Idea Fab Labs with Brent Warr and Chris Mountain with the WilderWilds
The
exhibition.
WilderWilds, yes.
I had to take a second and make sure I said that right.
Yeah, a little
So
mashup
welcome,
of
Chris.
wilderness and wilds.
Yeah, I dig it. It's just I'm used to saying it.
Oh yeah, almost everyone pronounces it WilderWilds when they just see it now, which makes sense. But
Yeah.
it's meant to be WilderWilds, which is
So, tell us about yourself, a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Chris Mountain. I'm a illustrator, graphic designer, kind of maker, artist, woodworker. Have many hobbies and many mediums I work in, but mainly illustration and design are kind of my two main strengths. Been putting together this particular project, the WilderWilds, with a really good friend of mine, Rose, who I grew up with. We've known each other for 25 years or something like that, and have been collaborating on and off throughout that time. And yeah.
That's cool. I like that. It's really cool to hear that, such long-term good friends are collaborating with art. It's always good to hear that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Collaboration is sort of my favorite part of creativity.
Oh God, yeah.
As a somewhat awkward introverted person, like the ability to collaborate. I mean, most of my social interactions happen around some form of collaboration. Definitely the more place I'm most comfortable.
Yeah. I understand how that goes. It's hard to, well, first of all, it's hard to speak about your own work just by yourself.
Absolutely.
I remember when I had a show and just trying, everybody was coming up to me and asking questions about my artwork, and I'm just like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really helps to have someone else's hand to hold when you're doing the brave stuff of putting yourself out there, for sure.
Amen to
Yeah,
that.
it's everybody has their own skills, and everybody can share with each other, help each other out.
Yeah. It's too bad Rose couldn't make it today, because she's the one who's very charismatic and outgoing, but I'm gonna hold her down.
Well, I'm sure someday we will be able to meet her, so I would like to.
Absolutely. Yeah, she'll be at Diabet on Saturday for sure.
So tell us a bit about the exhibition.
So exhibition, something, maybe, almost a year ago now, the opportunity to do an art show at the Fab Lab makerspace in Santa Cruz came up. And so me and Rose kind of got together and we're like, all right, what can we do? We've done a couple art shows in the past, one a year ago and another one like 7 years ago, through those spaces. So we kind of had put our heads together and we're like, okay, what do we want to do for this? We've done a lot of different things in our collaboration in the past. And as we were kind of looking through old sketchbooks and stuff from, as I mentioned, we've known each other for 25 years or something. We did a lot of art together in our teenage years. So we were flipping through some of the old notebooks from that time when we were teenagers and came across, well, it started with a map, set the WilderWilds at the top, and it sort of laid out this little fantasy world. And there's a bunch of these kind of like sketches and hand-drawn comics of these different little characters wearing onesies or creatures with antlers. And we're like, oh, this is kind of cool. We actually didn't even remember it when we came across it. But since I'm like, okay, I remember, when we were into this and created this thing. So yeah, we thought it would be a great place to start. You know, from that little map and sketchbook stuff that we did in our teenage years. Like, all right, we've got a lot more skills now, you know, and 25 years of experience, and let's approach this again and see what we can flesh out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool because that particular time was a very magical time, you know. There's a lot of it is us. A lot of the characters are me and my friends, and we were running around eating lots of psychedelics in the woods, wearing little costumes, and just like being goofy little creative beings.
That sounds about right for that age range. I mean, if you're an artist or a creative type, I mean, that's probably more likely what you were doing than not.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, and it was such a great time in our life, and you know, revisiting that in kind of in a creative way was an exciting proposition, and we really enjoyed doing it. Just kind of diving into that and getting back into that headspace without all the drama of adulthood.
Yeah, that's always nice.
It's very immersive. Can you tell us a little bit about this world?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely grown. Like I said, it started in that sketchbook, and there was a little bit of stuff there, just sort of around the characters and this sort of idea of, I guess you call it like a dream world, a place we go when we're sleeping and are kind of sorting out all the stuff that we deal with in our waking life and sort of this parallel universe. You know, which is why all the creatures or a lot of the characters, the sleepers, are dressed up in their PJs, and they're the ones sleeping, and they go into this world, the WilderWilds, while they're dreaming, and go on these adventures with we're calling them dream guardians, the furry creatures with the antlers and stuff, who actually live in that world and sort of guide the dreamers and sleepers through it. So that's kind of the basic idea. It's a dream world and a place, kind of a cathartic place for folks to sort out all the bullshit of their waking lives.
That's so cool. Have you ever? Is this a graphic novel, or are you like planning to make it into a graphic novel or anything like that?
You know, we'd love to, and we have spoken with a few different creative writers and stuff. Neither myself or Rose are particularly strong writers. I mean, I'm just a very slow writer is the issue.
No, I understand.
Yeah, we're a lot better at creating this visual identity. But throughout the whole process, we just kind of keep building on the lore, and you know, yeah, we would love to do that at some point to, you know, build out, because right now we don't really have any way, aside from like what we're doing here, to really narrate that story and explain it. So yeah, a graphic novel would be perfect, and we would love to kind of get there someday.
I do believe that you'll be able to find a writer for this.
Yeah. Good. Excellent. Yeah.
I think the exhibition is off. The whole concept is just fantastic. It's just so creative. Like I think once people see this, there might be a few writers out there that will want to help out with that.
Awesome. Yeah. I hope so. And I love to collaborate, as I said before. So, you know, we're very much interested in kind of bringing more creatives into the fold to kind of continue to actualize the vision.
That'd be really cool. I love you know, people collaborating, and just you can do so much as an artist on your own, but when you collaborate with other artists, it imagination expands because you got two people together or several people together and they all collaborate and they all have their own ideas, so you got a bunch more ideas to like pick from, so you can like
Yeah,
get
absolutely.
even more imaginative with creations and like projects and
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just having other people to bounce ideas off and kind of get into that like
yeah.
brainstorm mode. You just end up generating a lot more ideas when you're bouncing stuff off of people, and they've got their own experiences and their own imagination, and yeah, kind of exponentially grows from that point for sure. It's creating things completely individually. You can really kind of get isolated and stuck in a thing, so it's super
Oh,
helpful.
Brent's been giving me some pretty damn good ideas, so I'll take any good idea, really. I'm always open to ideas, so I think closing yourself off to ideas is just limiting yourself and the possibilities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm really impressed with the mixed media nature of these dolls. Well, the mixed media nature in general too. I mean, it's very expansive. Can you tell me a little bit about what goes into the making of these dolls?
Yeah, absolutely. And I wish Rose could be here to kind of give a more in-depth thing into it, since it's really more her. I helped with some masks and some ideas around it, but she really drove this project. But they're actually pretty labor intensive. They start actually with old vintage G.I. Joe dolls from the 90s, a little 12
No
inch.
way.
So, and scour the internet and find a bunch of those guys because they've got really good, the movement,
Your
Articulation.
Yeah, their articulation, exactly. And then what Rose did, which was actually a pretty in-depth process, was figuring out how to create a pattern where we can cover them seamlessly with fur, short and long pile furs, and how stretchy the fabric is. There's actually kind of a lot that goes into figuring out how to cut them and kind of get that furry skin over the top of them. I know she spent many hours developing that process, and now kind of has these like little patterns that she can cut out of the fur and get through it a little bit quicker.
So the placement of so are they like just suits that are made for the dolls?
Yeah, I mean they don't come off. They don't come off.
Well, but does the placement of the fur allow for articulation of the doll still?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. Okay, that's
fully
cool.
like articulated. Some of them have the G.I. Joe kung fu grip even.
I can see it.
Yeah.
So you can like change the poses of your artwork every once in a while, just having different situations. It's fun.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to in the future doing some sort of like kind of stop animation stuff, and there's a lot of technology for like kind of digitally puppetizing things with all the advents in AI and stuff, where we can find some way to animate them a little bit, which would be great if we start kind of telling more of a story and have that kind of graphic novel thing.
That might have been why I asked.
Yeah,
right.
Especially
talking about
and real.
Because I saw them moving in my head.
Yep.
Yeah, we would love to do that, and we actually also have some life-size costumes that we're working on as well. So
oh my god!
Creating some little stuff for social media with the life-size outfits, and then the little 12-inch dolls, and creating some sort of narration and animation around that is definitely a dream for the future, but I'm hoping we'll get there.
I'd pay good money to
think
see
you will.
WilderWilds band. That would be fantastic.
Wow. Yeah, because like you like it's a very vast collection within just one exhibition, and it's just you you have all the material for a whole series of multimedia art.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's, for me, I'm very much a multimedia artist, and I work in too many mediums, honestly, too many to master, which is an issue, but
Yeah, I know how that goes.
master of none. So it's exciting to have a project and be like, okay, how am I going to approach this as a woodworker? How am I going to approach this as an illustrator, as a graphic designer, as a doll maker and sculptor, um, skateboards.
Well, the nice thing about collaborating is like you can still get all these ideas out. You don't have to master a new skill. You can just collaborate with somebody who already knows how to do it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, 100%. Bringing in more talent, and the only way we're going to build it is to kind of continue to do that.
Yeah, it's resisting the urge to want to learn something new because you like it so much.
Yep. That is my ADHD brain is just, I am constantly having to wrangle that part of myself, because
It's art brain.
constantly
It's
starting
artist
new
brain.
projects that require learning an entire new skill, and I get all excited about that. And I've got 100 half-finished projects over here and all these other mediums, and I mean, I love learning. I think it's great. I think we should continue to challenge ourselves to do that, but also have to really like watch myself. I'm not
Yeah,
also
you have to
finished.
like constantly remind yourself like you're only human. People have limits.
Yep. Right now, the one
Can't
is
do it all.
video stuff. I mean, as we were talking before the interview, kind of about the importance of social media and just having a presence there. So that's kind of the next rabbit hole I've been going down is filming and editing and just the psychology of short form content, and kind of figuring that out, which is a lot of fun, but it's just a huge whole other career, really.
Yeah, it's so funny. Before I ever got involved with any like eh, professional level kind of social media, as far as like anything beyond just my personal stuff, I always laughed at the idea of a social media expert, like people like just people being hired to do social media all day. Like, why can't
Oh, but
somebody
it's a
just do
job.
it
Yeah.
in-house? Now I know. Now I really know.
Yeah, it's
There is a
not
lot of
just a thing for
psychology
teams
and
anymore.
business behind it.
Yeah, big business. It's.
Yeah.
I'm actually working on that. My day job, I design toys and packaging for toys for the National Geographic toy brand, and we have almost zero social media presence, and so I'm trying to kind of like drive that train and just convincing them to get on board. I mean, they're still not convinced that it could really drive a lot of sales, but I disagree. I think when done right, it can really drive a lot of sales. I mean, there's plenty
Yeah.
of proof in that pudding online. So it's yeah, trying to do that on a
That,
bigger kind of corporate level as well as my own personal.
yeah. That's an awesome job though. That's amazing. For National Geographic too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Mostly like science and learning toys and stuff. We've got the NASA license as well, and we've got a few other developed a magnetic block product, Blockaroo, that we launched a few years ago, and we got the may have the Barbie and Batman licenses too, starting next year, which would be a lot of fun to work on. A little bit more playful. Net Geo is very science-driven stuff, which is
Yeah.
is great. It's great, but the play value for me is,
Yeah.
it'd be fun.
Well, yeah, getting that licensing can like expand into more science and nature driven, like mainstream popular toys.
Yeah, that's why Barbie and Batman and Harry Potter is another one, have been talking about working with us, because obviously for Barbie, the idea of like science STEM toys and like a Barbie package, with their whole rebrand that they've gone through in the last few years here, where they're trying to be what do you call it, have a strong
Inclusive.
value behind
Yeah.
their brand. And
Well, I remember maybe it was like probably like the late 80s, early 90s when Barbie really started rebranding for there was like Dr. Barbie, there were like career Barbies, like that was about the time period that they started doing that. So it's I think it's been a long time coming for something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just a good business decision for them.
Oh yeah.
Essentially, I'm sure that's the only reason they're doing it.
Oh, for sure.
The idea of like, women in STEM and women in science, and like, kind of representing that, is great for their image, of course.
Yeah, but I mean, culturally speaking, I mean, if it gets kids more into learning, that's the ultimate goal. I mean, for Nat Geo, obviously it's money, but considering what they do, that would be their goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I fully support the idea of it. I mean, it's, the more you can expose, young girls to, science and technology career paths, because there's always been a bit
Even for boys,
so it's a great thing culturally.
Even for boys, it's like there's plenty of kids that don't get too much exposure to that stuff, and they it's all about superheroes and
war,
just war fighting, celebrity culture, stuff like that. So getting them into kids are already into comic books and stuff. So if that gets them, I mean, comic books already get kids into science.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's you gotta like walk that thin line of, if it's too edgy, like it has to be fun and it has to be engaging, and or they're not going to care. I mean, we certainly have some products like that where it's a great product for learning about science, but you give them, because I'm always giving all my friends' kids these toys and sort of seeing what stuff they respond to, and a lot of the times, they love to get a gift, and they'll open the box, and within 5 minutes they're back to their video game.
You're like, oh, it's a science lab. Damn
it. Another question I have about these dolls: are these each one of a kind?
They are. Yes. Yeah. Each one is one of a kind. The faces we did in ceramic, so we painted and fired all the faces. Each one's kind of different. We did, and then came up.
Yeah, I saw on the sign one of them has eyes that are hand blown glass. That's pretty wild.
Oh yeah, that one actually. Rose, her partner is a glass blower, and so he blew a bunch of these little like hand blown glass eyeballs for him, which are really cool.
That is mind blowing.
Yeah, which was to emulate. There's an image in our illustration series of this kind of one-eyed cyclops, rainbow-eyed creature. And so that was an attempt to sort of create a creature around that image.
This one has it kind of evokes fine china. It's really cool.
It's I forget what that blue and white Chinese buttery aesthetic thing is called, but yeah, absolutely.
It's very cool.
Oh no, that's gonna drive me nuts because it's like it's right there, and I can't remember what, like Wedgwood.
Yeah, something. I know I've heard the name recently, but my brain is a
I like the masks. Remind me of the tribal African masks,
Yeah,
and
that
like
was.
a bit of Eskimo mask in there too.
Yeah, that was a tricky part, of course, of working just with the creatures in general. Is like there's obviously inspiration from a bunch of different kind of cultural creature things. The Wendigo is a local one here in the Americas, but yeah, I mean, every culture has this strong kind of mask and creature stuff in there, and we wanted to be inspired by that, but also very much stay away from any sort of appropriation or anything that would be offensive. Obviously, like we're not trying to. So that was a hard line to walk. Is how can we show that we were inspired by this stuff without trying to repackage their culture and sell it as our own, because we're painfully aware of that in dealing with like masks and sort of these types of creatures, and so hoping we walked that line without being offensive in any way.
I also see like a inspiration from like the more rural of or more northern European cultures too.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure, the antlers really shows up in that Northern European and Native American and a lot more. Even some of the kind of like Scottish and Irish stuff.
Yeah, definitely notice that too. I like that. It's like it's its own, like you can see what inspired, you can see the inspiration in it, but it's its own thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've got Where the Wild Things Are, Miyazaki films.
Oh yeah, I see that.
There's strong influence, of course, from those two things, which are things that both me and Rose were strongly influenced by in our youth. So that is another thing where can you pay homage to these other creatives and be inspired by without without copying, without reproducing, but with just sort of elaborating and putting our own spin on it.
Well, the saying nothing new exists under the sun, it exists for reasons, because you nothing exists in a vacuum. No. Even you could, everybody has exposure to other people, and you can be living out in the middle of the woods and you're still going to get inspiration from something else.
Of course. I mean, honestly, that's what I think art is just, there's what you were exposed to and drawn to throughout your life, and then sort of your mashup and an interpretation of all those things. There's very little like just totally original art that, like you said, exists in a vacuum. All music, all artwork kind of has this long lineage, and it's just about, okay, where can we take it from here? Can we push this idea forward a little bit while paying respect and homage to the things that inspired it.
Is this your woodwork?
This is my woodwork. Yes. Yeah. So I've got a whole other kind of line of stuff and art that I do that is this CNC carved, laser cut, wooden boxes. I do speakers, furniture, a whole bunch of stuff like that. So yeah, this is something I wanted to get more into this for this show. I love the idea of these kind of like magical doll boxes that your dream guardian lives in, and
that's beautiful.
Kind of put
I really love that idea.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So
this box art, by the way, is really impressive. As a recovering toy collector myself, I'm always impressed by box art, and so this is really well done.
Thank you. Yeah. So that's what I do, in my day job. I don't know, I've got some here actually. I'm a packaging designer, so
Okay.
I
Oh,
wanted
okay.
to kind of get into that a little bit. And, these are just some mock-ups, but, moving into the future, we're hoping, because I have a Chinese packaging supplier that we use for Geo and everything else, and they've agreed to let me produce some of my stuff to them. So eventually, we're hoping that all of the dolls, especially as we start to sell them online and stuff, will all come in a box with their little accoutrement and little stuff, and just to kind of make it more of a collector's item sort of deal.
I like that they come with accessories too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've got all this kind of random stuff. A lot of it actually links into the lore. And
what are the accessories that are shown on the box?
Well, we got our mini canvases. So we UV printed a bunch of little miniature canvases and easels. So we put one of those in there. There's stickers. We got a bunch of stickers. You gotta get a sticker.
I gotta have stickers.
Yeah, or the sticker pack. I guess we got 4 stickers in there. The snails are another part of the lore. Snails are sort of like the kind of horses of the WilderWilds in a way. Sometimes people live in them, like an RV, where there's sort of an elaborate house on the snail shell. Like we've kind of seen different versions of that.
So kind of like Never Ending Story. The
guy like with the turtle.
You live in it.
Yeah, the turtle. Some of them are smaller, where they're just kind of riding them like
I thought it was a snail.
Horses, and then other ones are larger, where you actually live inside of them, and that's just sort of the general kind of way folks get around in that world is by snail.
That's so cool.
And then the D&D dice, which just thought that'd be
very
cool.
fitting.
I don't know. There's not any specific lore behind those other than that there's they're these mini items, so they're the right size for those 12-inch creatures, which is why we threw those in there. And threw some crystals and stones in there. That is another thing that kind of comes from my work, which is we sell a lot of like crystal kits and stuff for National Geographic. So all of our like returned items and everything, I collect them and just have this giant collection of gems and crystals and stuff that we like to give out. There's a whole thing in the game because we're running like a treasure hunty type of game at the event on Saturday. We have to go and play this game and follow this map, and you win beans, and then you trade the beans for the crystals, and it's a lot of fun.
I'll be here working in it, but I'll have my daughter, and I can't wait to show her all of this.
Okay, I'm jealous now. I would love to go to a show like that. It sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, I love interactive, just interactive art in general.
Yeah, I do too.
Spent a lot of time at like Burning Man. Very inspired by like the Meow Wolves and places like that. Just anything that kind of brings the viewer more into the world and is more of an interactive adventure. It's I would love to do a bunch more of that sort of stuff. It's
Now, is there meaning behind the music box?
The meaning behind the music box is that my friend Rose found a giant box of them. So she's great at like rummage sales and things like that. Is always collecting weird little items. And she just came across them, and they just felt like they fit. They
do.
Different music on them. There's a bunch of different songs on each one, and they're a little creepy and a little whimsical and a little I don't know. They just felt like
it fits the vibe very well.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that they're naked too. There's not the box isn't there. It's just the guts.
Yeah. Yep. I think this one is probably my favorite.
See, there's a snail.
Yeah.
There's a writing snail. Yep.
Yeah. There's
I like
some
the mask on it
images. They
too.
might not be the big framed ones that actually show the houses and the stuff, but there's actually another handful of framed pieces that I've got up here that I haven't put up yet that I was gonna hang in the big room there on Saturday.
I
And
love
then
the
on
hats
Saturday, you'll
too.
have a lot of products for sale, correct?
Yes, yeah. Really trying to do a lot of the merch stuff. This came from, well, first of all, because when we're doing these events, and we ran a couple of them this summer, we got the treasure hunt and everything, and then it's also sort of like a pajama party sort of thing where people who come are very much encouraged to wear onesies, pajamas, things with ears, antlers, to kind of dress up as the characters in the art.
It gets cooler and cooler.
Yeah,
this is
that's the map. That's the map.
event
So you
too.
come in, and we actually created these treasure maps that match up to the spaces where we threw the event. So this one matches up to the makerspace down in Santa Cruz, and I have made another one that matches up to the space you're in right now in the Chico Fab Lab, so that you can kind of like, go do all these little missions and stuff throughout the space while you're at the show. Which is a lot of fun. I'm also real inspired by the Goonies. Goonies was a huge inspiration for me as a kid. That was
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I see that.
a good treasure hunt. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God, now I think about the I only had two art shows, but it's like they're so stiff. I mean, I've been to art shows, and they're all about the same. It's just a bunch of people walking around looking at pictures, drinking wine. That's just about it. And there's really not much interactive about it.
Yeah, the interactive part's a lot of fun. I mean, and that's what people like looking at people's art and stuff like that, but people really want the attention focused on themselves, honestly, more than like focusing energy on somewhere else. So when you get to come and dress up as the character, and we have a lot of these like photo wall type things where you can really like immerse yourself in the art and get people to share it in that way, because people are less likely to share, oh, I went to this art show, here's a picture of a painting I saw, but hey, I went to this event and here's me dressed up as the characters in their world, especially for social media and stuff like that. It's just easier to get people to sort of spread it that way. And a lot more fun.
Yeah.
We did a lot of this smaller stuff, so cheaper merch, price point stuff. Because in my experience in the past is, you can do an art show and you can create these big expensive pieces and put them up, and you will sell some of them. But when it comes to actually generating income, in the past, it didn't always balance out for me as far as the amount of time that you put into like creating something and building all this stuff. And even if you sell out of all your like big framed pieces and stuff, like until you get to that point where you can sell things for $10,000.
Yeah,
we're at.
People don't seem to understand that like most artists, like what they sell their artwork for is at best pennies per hour.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I mean, especially once you factor in the cost of supplies, which are really expensive for most people.
Yeah, supplies, time, and that's not even going to get into the years and decades sometimes of developing those skill sets. To put that stuff out. So,
and then there's like laying out the concept. Like if you plan it out first, there's all the time for like sketching out the concept and stuff like that before you even get to the finished piece. There's a lot more that goes into art than people realize. Like, I feel bad for selling something for $200 that I spent. I'll spend like, I don't know, 2 weeks on. like working basically full-time hours for 2 weeks, and I feel bad for selling it for $200 when, especially for I use golden products. They're not cheap.
Oh yeah, doing like gold leaf and stuff like that. Like just using gold in your art. Yeah, absolutely.
I use golden artist paint products.
Oh, okay.
The acrylics and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I would love to use actual gold leaf, but that's even more.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a tough thing. Pricing is really tough because you want to be fair to yourself, but you also want it to be accessible.
Yeah.
And our audience, specifically in the shows that we have done, because we're doing stuff through a lot of maker spaces, and it's sort of combined with these like parties with DJs, and it's it's not your typical high-end gallery vibe. So we were aware that a lot of our demographic needs like a much lower entry point if they're gonna actually own any of the art. And we wanted to sell it a lot more. So we did go really hard on things like merch, things that are in the, just about everything is under, the dolls are over 100, but everything else is under $100. And then we have a bunch of, $5 and $10, $20 items. And that.
Well, you want your art accessible to people instead of just keeping it just to a very specific.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I've been that person. I mean, for the majority of my life, I was pretty broke. I love art and I appreciate art, and I own and almost no art, aside from stuff that my friends have given me and things like that. But, until recently, I haven't been in a position to be a purchaser of fine arts. So, yeah, we really wanted to do that, and we wanted to sell things. We wanted to make money, and
obviously,
we just had these sort of high-end items, and
making things accessible to more people obviously will bring you more money. But yes. It's basically the comparison between just the art world in general, just art in general, and the fine art world, because the fine art world is where it's like expensive original artwork, and it's in one of a kind, and you don't really see prints of this stuff, and it's very exclusive, and a lot of amazing artwork is out there that people aren't seeing because it's exclusive to the one owner.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, the fine art world is weird, and so much of it is not about art. It's just sort of this elaborate
it's about the value of the art
thing for the ultra rich. I mean, that's really, all those people are selling things for hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, that is a ball of the ultra rich just laundering their money and exchanging money in a way that's untraceable. That's the reality of it. And who gets to be that person who sells their art for hundreds of thousands of dollars is not based on skill.
The person with the least scruples.
The weird nepotism thing, or
yeah.
So, but that's not the world we're honestly in.
Or some ultra rich person's like artist, poor person or something. Because they exist. They do that.
Yeah. I forget the name for that, where somebody just sort of
patron. Okay, a patron of the arts.
And which is awesome. I mean, if there's any ultra rich people out there willing to support.
I mean, I'm not turning it down. If there is anybody out there wants, as wealthy, wants to be a contributor and wants to be a benefactor to the arts, I have no problem with it. It's the whole system that sucks.
Yeah, I think it's great.
And I appreciate it.
Give me. But, yeah, well, and luckily, because with a lot of the stuff, the dolls are very one of a kind. They have a lot of hours into them for sure. Just the development, and then each one just takes that time. But for the prints and everything, I mean, all the art was created digitally.
Yeah.
Prints, stickers, skateboards, all this other stuff is very reproducible. You know, it's
digital art makes that easier for sure.
much easier, yeah. And it's great to get it into the physical world because I do a lot of digital art, and if it only lives on the computer, it kind of feels like it doesn't exist. So,
well,
getting into the physical world is important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know for sure, websites can be taken down, equipment fails, but a print, as long as it doesn't get thrown out or caught on fire, I mean, it lasts. So I went to school for anthropology. Well, one of the things I went to school for was anthropology, and one of my favorite professors that I was friends with, he would talk about this a lot too, because I wrote all the time. I wrote journals just page after page, and he told me to never stop doing that, and I did. But he said never stop doing it because it's a gold mine for historians, and digital does not last forever. They say these hard drives last 200 years. These files last 200 years on these hard drives, but it's like they haven't been around for 200 years, so there's no proof of it. Paper, and I mean, just from my own equipment that I've had for like past 25 years, these things say they last for so long, and then all of a sudden I lose the hard drive and all my files and all my photos and everything is gone. So, but it's like, even a print. I just got back a poster from that's like 35 years old that I got when I was a kid, and it's beat up, but it's still there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The digital thing is weird, and there's a little bit of like, not everyone understands the amount of work that goes into creating digital assets like that. It feels like you don't get your props when it's just a digital piece, because people have all these assumptions around digital art. And while it is,
it's not easy.
it's not easy. It is easier. I mean, if I were to try and paint all of these pieces, the time it would have taken me would have taken me 100 times longer.
Yeah, I don't know if there are a lot of shortcuts with digital, but it's a different skill set. It's like my work is physical mediums, and I've been trying for the longest time to try to get the hang of digital art, and like I do like the reels. I like the reels and videos I'm really catching on to, and certain like photoshopping and stuff like that. But once it gets to complicated stuff and actually doing hand art work digitally, I can't catch on to it. It just doesn't feel right to me, and I just can't catch on to the way like trying to translate what I do in physical medium into the features of a digital program. I just can't. It just doesn't fully translate for me. So it's not even easier. It's just different skill set.
It has gotten easier. I remember, I mean, my first entrance into digital art was kind of before the Cintiqs and the iPads and stuff, back when the only drawing pads were those Wacom tablets, where you got your tablet over here and your screen here, so you've got your
I can't do it.
Your hands way over there, and there was just such a huge disconnect. I couldn't get it. Every time you pick up your pen, put it back down, it's like in a different place, and I pretty much gave up on it for a long time, and then eventually, once iPads and stuff like that, where you could draw directly on screen, came out, and that was a lot more intuitive for me. Still took a long time to get the texture and just everything, but it's also very cool. There's so much you can do.
Oh yeah.
There's so much you can do. I really, really enjoy it now, but it for sure took a while transfer into that. I used to just do sketches and painting and stuff like that. But reproducibility,
Hey, y'all,
that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Is that Brent?
Oh, sorry about that. I just wanted to give you a heads up. I have to actually finish up for my part.
Okay.
Like, if you guys want to continue, talking for the interview portion of it, but I got to go pick my daughter up.
Okay.
It looks like
Yeah,
people
sure.
need to get into this room. No, you're good. You're good. Looks like they want to access this room anyways to start moving stuff. So I'm going to sign off. Is there any last shot you want me to get or anything like that?
No, I think you've kind of been zipped it around, showing a little bit of
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, I think that's great. And like I said, I can give you guys access to some of the digital images if they end up not clear enough in the video or whichever it is. But yeah, I think that's great.
All right, Chris. Well, I'm going to see you Saturday. I'll be here volunteering. I'll have my daughter with me. You'll get to meet her as well.
Oh, great.
And
Awesome.
thank you so much for letting us do this. This is very impressive, and it's absolutely our style. So it'll be great to meet you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I look forward to meeting you too, Brent. Thanks for doing
Take care,
this.
guys.
Yeah. Thank you for doing this, Brent.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you later, Shelly.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, Brent.
No, let me change this back.
We can continue. Also, in the next 10 minutes, should probably hop off because I'm technically.
Oh, that's fine.
Now.
Okay.
But yeah, let's kind of go through it a bit more. But yeah, have any other questions? Anything else you'd like to get into?
So, so did you go to school for art, or did you go to school for design specifically?
Ish.
Okay.
Ish. I popped in and out of school a lot throughout my 20s. I did not do a 4-year track whatsoever. I did art classes at the community college in Santa Cruz, which is great. So I kind of got an entrance to a lot of different mediums. And then later on, when I decided it's going to be really hard to make a living as a fine artist, and maybe graphic design is a good skill set to kind of back that up. I went to in San Diego, a little graphic design certificate course. So it was really just a 6-month program where they just kind of teach you all the programs and run you through stuff. But it was a great introduction to all those tools. And then was fortunate enough to then go to LA, and there's a school called Art Center there, which is one of the two. You've got Rhode Island School of Design on the East Coast, and then Art Center on the West Coast. And those are the two behemoth design schools. And I was able to almost stole my education from there, and that I was living with somebody who was going full time to Art Center, and I signed up for a couple of extension classes, and then used my friend and the people I knew there to kind of sneak in and what do you call it? Arbitrate. Were you sitting on classes?
Oh, I just had the word too.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's right there on the tip of my tongue. But
oh God, watch. As soon as we end this, it's gonna pop into my head. Probably both of us at the same time. We're gonna be like, "Oh my God, that's this word," and this just ended.
Absolutely.
No, my dad worked at SUNY Oneonta for 30 years, and I went to college here twice. My sister worked up there, and I've lived among the college people my whole life, so it's I should know that word right off to my just right there. You should know it.
Yeah. Well, folks know what we mean. But
yeah. Just sit down in classes without paying.
Yeah, it was a great way without paying the hundreds of thousands of dollars of tuition that level of school requires to kind of get myself around really good designers. I mean, the best of the best are in that space. And so just being able to kind of be there and rub shoulders with them and sneak in on classes when I could, and take classes where they let me, and just be on campus. I think I got a lot out of that, because the previous art schools I had gone to were not that like high end. They were just, here's the basic community college level, learn the program.
Yeah.
So it was an important part of my development to get that year kind of, it's like going to Harvard or something, you know, where you're around the smartest and the brightest, and that was really inspiring, and I think leveled up my skill set a lot.
Yeah, I went to a small art school in Utica, New York. It's now owned by Pratt. It's now a Pratt school. But it Munson William Proctor Institute, and at the time they only accept, I think the class was like 150 people, and they accepted like, it was like they accepted 150 students out of 6,000 portfolio reviews a year, and they worked with Pratt they were sister schools with Pratt at the time, so they still had programs through Pratt back then. So like that was pretty exclusive, and you know. But then I also had the experience of going to school for art at SUNY Oneonta, so that's state school. So yeah, there are two different levels to art schools. There's like general public art school, which is like community college or state school or something, and then there's art school, and those are two different experiences.
Yep, and they both have their advantages, because there's certainly something in that like hoity-toity kind of environment in those like high-end art schools where everyone's kind of like high on their own farts a little bit, and just
it's good to get that exposure. It really is good to get the exposure with that more fine art mentality.
Yeah, but great to be around. I mean, I loved community college art classes, because there is zero like pretense about it. It's just like, let's get stoned and make some weird little creatures or whatever.
Yes.
It's just a lot more free. Not like this whole structure around, this is the way you got to do it, and you know, this is what good is, and you just have none of that. A lot more free in the creative process in those environments. So it's nice to have access.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I took art classes with people at SUNY Oneonta that were more amazing. Like, well, I really hate to compare artists, but they really were better artists than some of the people I went to school with at Munson. But the difference is when you get accepted to an exclusive art school, it's your portfolio. You basically have to like know how to have skill of doing several different types of mediums. Like the more mediums, the better. The more expansive, like the more different types of things that you can do, the easier it is to get, or the better chances you get in. But it doesn't make you a better artist. It just means that you have a better range. It just means that you'll have a better time of exploring fine arts in general. When you go to school for just art in a regular school, it's just like most of the places don't require a portfolio review for their art program. So you can be an amazing artist and only, you know a handful of mediums, and just an amazing artist, and end up not getting into the art school, but end up going to, a regular college. And it's like, just because you went to a fancy art school doesn't mean you're a good artist. You're an awesome artist. It just means
and
you have the range.
Often that you are technically very proficient, but it doesn't necessarily do anything for your creativity, and that's what it really comes down to. I mean, not in design. Design is very much about being technically proficient and just emulating these aesthetics that people want. But when in fine art, it's really about how creative you are. It's all about vision and actualizing, having the skill set to actualize that. But
it's also a mastery of the mediums.
Yeah.
But they also don't let you explore the mediums as much. they tell you how to use the mediums and how to become an expert in using the mediums, but not so much in exploring new ways of using the mediums. And that's what I really liked about the classes at SUNY Oneonta, is because I learned new ways of using the same mediums. Like, and like mixing and like, just, oh, what can this do? Let's try this in a different way, in a new way. But at Munson, it was all about, this is how you use it, and this is how you use it perfectly.
Yeah.
It's
A lot
fine
of
art.
experimentation is being encouraged sometimes.
Yeah.
Higher learning environments. It's, and that's the fun. I mean, creativity and experimentation and all of that. I mean, that's what I enjoy, and that's what I like to see. Where I'm like, oh, how do they do that? That's a totally new, combination of different materials and new things, different ways to kind of express oneself.
Yeah, and one of the things I do plan on doing with the Anartist Collective is do like in the studio videos or do like instructional streams, like show how I do things and have people like invite people to do the same thing too, because like the way I use mediums is different than how most people use the same mediums, and I know a lot of other people do the same thing, and I'd like to. I've had a lot of people ask me how I do things, and I want to share that, and I want to know how people use certain mediums that I've never seen them do, seen things used in certain ways, and it would be really cool for them to share that with other people. Maybe people could pick up new things and create new techniques and new art, and
Yeah, absolutely. Having a platform to kind of for people to share all that stuff is awesome. I mean, I learn a lot just like scrolling social media, and everyone's got this is how I whatever paint shirts with bleach or whatever random thing, and they kind of give a little bit of like oh, okay, that's how that's done, because there's not always a lot of information online, like when it comes down to really how do you do it, all the little like things that you have to like trial and error learn when you're getting into kind of a new medium like that. I love that there's just more and more kind of visibility into process these days.
Watching it being done in the process is so different than instructions, because like just being able to see it and like hear somebody explain it while they're doing it, as you're watching it, is just it's just so much better. And not everybody has the money for art school, for art classes, or even like local art classes at the community art center. Like not everybody has access to that. Not everybody lives in an area where they have access to that. So it's nice to see that people are putting this stuff online, not gatekeeping their process.
Yeah, which is not a completely like well, it depends on the person, but it's not as altruistic as people make it seem, because everybody wants your attention.
Yes, yeah. Well, yeah.
Attention economy, and there's a million people who are like, I fall for it all the time. It's like I could do that. Maybe I'll do that. I'm gonna watch this piece of content because maybe someday I'll get into making, crocheted scarves or whatever. And this person's showing it to me, but it's cool how that works, because it's really motivating a lot of people to share their process, and so you're getting all that information, even though folks are doing it for views, follows.
Yeah, I do understand people are doing it for views and stuff like that and trying to sell their own artwork, but I kind of think that on a subconscious level that they, even if they don't even realize it themselves, that on subconscious level they do understand that they're helping other artists learn these things and explore their own art.
Try it out. Yeah.
They know it. They know it.
Yeah, no, it's
or else they wouldn't have done it. Or else they won't do it. They'll be like, nope, this is my process. This is my technique. I don't want anybody to know what I do because it's a secret.
Yeah.
There are a lot of artists like that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I've been in that place before where like I stumbled upon some techniques to do a thing and like it's really cool. And it's not actually that hard. It's just this combination of some software and this and that and you know, wanting to like, I don't want anybody else to know how to do this, because then everyone's going to be doing it. And then just kind of letting that go.
Yeah, and you want to make it like make yourself marketable in some way. Like,
yeah, I get the
put yourself
urge to
above.
gatekeep. I get the urge
Yeah.
to gatekeep
I get,
inspiration and resources and stuff as well. You know, like back in the day, you know, you'd find like a really good band and you didn't want anybody else to hear it because it would go mainstream and it would ruin it for you. And I mean,
yeah.
I understand gatekeeping, but I like that we're in this kind of digital world
Yeah.
now where it's very encouraged to share everything, and I don't think it is actually hurting anybody's business too much. I don't think people are sharing stuff on social media and then getting way less sales because people are making it themselves. Because people,
No, I mean,
99% of the time, they're not going to do it. They're going to be like, "Oh, that's cool, I could do that," but they're not going to go out and get all the materials and spend the time to do it.
Yeah, well, yeah, most people aren't, but like I mean, gains it. All it does is gain attention. Probably gain. I mean, even though like I wouldn't say I get very very many views, but like it gets interest in the rest of your artwork.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm really interested in the whole like online social media aspect of art now. You know, and as a typically introverted person, it's a little tough for me. I actually have a project right now where I've got like I'm putting my art out there, but through an avatar, through another person who's essentially pretending to be me in this kind of weird meta way. And I've actually really been enjoying that because then I get to be the person filming and I get to do the creative stuff, and someone else is just who's you know, more camera ready than me.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's something like dishonest or whatever about that, but
no, actually,
project too.
There is a history of artists basically having spokespeople.
Yeah.
Very long history.
Yeah, absolutely. And
artists do tend to have
stuff like that as well. There's ways around it if you're not always super comfortable. You know, being on camera or being the center of attention.
Yeah, artists do have a hard time talking about themselves. Unless you get them one-to-one.
Yeah.
Then they don't shut up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's me for sure. I'm great one-on-one, small group of people. You give me, you know, more than 5 people in a room and just my mind goes blank and just it's like a whole other thing. I don't really understand the psychology of that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that might have like been a factor into me wanting to do this for artists. I know it's just more comfortable. And you know, trying to present in front of a group of people in person, or even just a group like you know, in a prayer sense, it's just a lot easier.
Yeah, and having like a conversation versus presenting, you know, like you're on stage and doing
prepared statements. Like, oh my god, what if I say the wrong thing about my artwork, and then like, oh my god, like, or you know, I say something to offend somebody, or you know, just anything. It's just you don't worry about it in a conversational setting.
No, yeah, no, exactly, because you're kind of engaged in the listening process, which really helps to then just like the performative putting stuff out there.
And you learn more about other people.
Yeah. I'm just trying to give a speech. I will run out of things to say immediately, but in a conversation, it's like, oh yeah, and that. It's, yeah, much more dynamic format for sure.
Yeah. So, how about we wrap it up? Thank you
Yeah.
for doing this. I really enjoyed this. I love your artwork. I love Rose's work too. You guys are a great team, phenomenal team. I love it all. Love the whole concept, everything about it. It's just great. Is there any place online that we can find you and the collection?
There will be. There will be. There are, I have, as I mentioned, my own personal Instagram page, and then there's an Instagram page for the WilderWilds, which is at _WilderWilds. Mine is Chris_Mountain_creative. Those are the only two places currently. But we are building a website and an Etsy page, and it's coming. So
Yeah, I know that process very well. I understand how it goes.
yeah.
I'll put the links
clue into
to.
the social media stuff, if once we have that stuff launched, like that's the place where we're going to be announcing it. So
I'll put the links to the Instagram accounts in the description when I put this up. And when is the show? This
the
Saturday?
show in Chico is this Saturday.
Yeah.
We've got a daytime event starting around noon. It's kind of your typical wine and cheese open studios sort of thing. And then in the evening time, where got all these big DJs and performers.
When the fun starts.
Yeah, and the fun starts. We'll start running the game, the treasure hunt game, and putting on our PJs and our ears and getting into it. So if you're in Chico, please stop by.
Chico, California, Idea Fab Labs.
That's right, Chico, California, Orange Street. Come check us out.
Well, thank you for showing up. It was nice meeting you.
Yeah, thanks so much for inviting me and speaking with me. This has been a lot of fun.
Goodbye.
Bye. Digital art. Yeah. Sorry, digital.
Based off of sketches and drawings that we've been working at. We're friends for 20 years. I came up from Santa Cruz. Chris came down from Ashland. He's originally from Santa Cruz. So this is kind of a culmination of a... Learned how to draw from tracing comic books. Like tracing, straight up tracing. And I was like, this is how we try this. So let's do Garfield. Let's do Snoopy. Let's do Calvin and Hobbes. Let's do Far Side.
Fuck the morals, fuck the code. Welcome back, my dirty world. If you're down beneath the floor, make them join us. Close door, time to